Hello, everyone. And if you're wondering why you're only seeing a mask, it's because I am cleaning. And I'm not going to expound on it anymore because I know you were like waiting and I paused like I'm going to say something. And the truth was no, I wasn't. I was trying to think of something and it wasn't working for me. Anyway, I'm Winona and I'm one of the end I thought ladies. Wow, and my neck lost weight. Ooh, look at it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm Winona and I'm back on topic. And I'm one of the end I thought ladies. And guess what we did? We wrote books. Go figure. You showed up to a book podcast to hear about an author and we wrote books. They are. And I thought divorce was bad. And I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir and verse, foreign coffee, Widow's Web, and Widow's Debt. Those are the 6 audiobooks you can get wherever audiobooks are sold, not sailed. Of course, I would say that would be when I have the money and then bought something else. I feel like that is the word for that. It's called sailed. Because it was sold and then I made a sale. That person made a sale with the money that of something that was sold. So it is sailed. What? I'm loving this. Okay, I'm done. Okay, you can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. And that's where you can find the rest of these 17 books. That means that there are 11 more of these silly, fun books out there for you to read. But you're not here to hear about me and my silly, fun books. Or my sign language. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jenny Hale, romantic fiction author. And do I say my 3 things? Should I tell them 3 things?
Yes, we can't wait to hear them.
Okay, so everything from crazy to not so crazy. So crazy first. I drink my coffee in the morning out of a straw every time.
Yeah.
It became that way because my dentist told me that I was drinking so much coffee that I was wearing away my teeth. So I drink it through a straw every morning, even though it's hot. My second fact is that I speak Spanish, not very well, but I do speak it because I was an ESL teacher for many, many years. And that was my language that I learned to speak in high school and college. And the third thing is I own my own publishing imprint that publishes romantic fiction.
¿Cómo aprender español?
Puedo hablar un poquito, no mucho.
¿Cómo aprender español una vez? ¿Correcto?
Sí.
Okay. You don't want to tell the story one more time?
What story?
I was like, how did you learn Spanish one more time?
Oh, I see. I got you. I thought you said I learned Spanish. Like I said, not very well. Well, it was weird. I learned Spanish. I started in 8th grade. It came very easily for me. I took it in high school. I took some in college. And then I stopped speaking it for years and years. And then I became an ESL teacher and a lot of my kids spoke Spanish. And so I would speak to their parents and to them in my Spanish, the best Spanish I could. But what I find is that a lot of my practice was in the school setting. So I can speak school words really well. And I know all the words for school. But when it comes to things outside of school, it's a little bit harder for me to speak it. And I've forgotten it.
Yo aprendo español acerca de porque en la iglesia por 8 años y en la universidad y hijo. Pero
la iglesia.
Muy mal.
Habla español en la iglesia.
En la iglesia con una congregación de España. De español.
Okay.
Contigo inglés, congregación en la iglesia, pero necesito ayuda. So I volunteered.
Oh, very nice. That's very nice.
So for 8 years, I traducir discusiones de la Bíblica en inglés para traducir para español.
Oh, nice. Very nice. And I can do
but it was bad.
I'm sorry. I do it a little with my students when I used to teach, but I would speak like, about school forms and bus routes and lunches and things like that. So a lot of the times I speak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, but yours is helpful. Mine's is like Mateo, Santiago, Capitulo. no, 3 versículo 40, I mean, 16, dice. I mean, when do you use that in the real world? Like, yeah, that's what you're using every day. That and I know how to order at a restaurant. There you go.
Yes, I can order at a restaurant. That's like the first thing you learn, in school is how to order at a restaurant.
Yeah. Oh no, I learned for some reason we learned health words because I was also in like the medical field. So
Okay.
like learning health words. But anyway, we've talked a lot about Spanish. I'm assuming you're not going to write it in your next book in Spanish.
Definitely not. No, it's in English.
How did you get started writing?
I started in adulthood actually. I began when I had little bitty kids and I was teaching full time and I needed a creative outlet. And so I used to read all the time and I thought, I think I could write one of these. So I gave it a whirl. And the first book never really saw the light of day. It was a mess. But then I decided to read about writing and then try it again. And that second book was the one that went on to be published and start my career.
What was that second book?
Coming Home for Christmas.
Oh, nice. So what does it feel like being a USA Today bestseller? When did you find out you were?
Gosh, I'm trying to think of the first book. I've had 3 hit the USA Today bestseller list. It was just sort of, exciting. I mean, it just, like everything in steps, you get certain accolades and, you think, oh, that's exciting. I can add that. And it helps to, I feel like it helps people to take a chance on your novels. That's really the sole excitement for me was, I don't think the title really has a lot of impact other than someone who hasn't ever picked up my novel, who sees that title will say, okay, I'll give it a shot. And for me, that's what writing's all about, is reaching readers. And I play that game all the time of like, how can I reach my reader the very best way? So for me, the title was more exciting just because I could possibly reach more readers with it.
So how did you meet your literary agent and or publisher?
Oh, that's a funny story. So for about 2 years, I started to submit that book, Coming Home for Christmas. At the time, it was titled Flipped for You. And I was submitting to both agents and publishers and learning along the way as I went because I wasn't, an author. I didn't know the business. And so I started to send it out to both. And I got a lot of feedback. Looking back on it now, I don't know if I was like solidly ready to do it, as a full-time career, but I was game for trying and for learning. And so I kept getting really solid feedback from people. And someone I knew at one of my writers groups said, keep going. They don't have time for feedback. If they're giving you feedback, that's a good thing. So finally I found a small publisher in London, and I actually sent them the manuscript. I was about to put it in a drawer and start over. And I sent them the manuscript as sort of like a last ditch effort to try to get some feedback, because when I read, I like to read British chick lit. It's just funny to me. It's my favorite.
Oh my God. It's like one of my favorite things to read. I'm sorry, now I'm done. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
So funny. Like the humor is just so different. And I'll double over laughing at it. But anyway, I was reading some of that. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm writing in a way that's better received in the UK. I mean, because I wasn't a trained writer. I didn't know how to do it per se. So just in order to get some feedback, I sent it to this small publisher in London, thinking they were a small publisher. I might get more time spent. I might get more feedback from it. And I got a publishing deal. I got a contract offer. And so then I thought, well, now what? What do I do now? And everything about that publisher was so fantastic that I just was ready to jump in with both feet with this new, really dynamic, interesting publisher. And that publisher went on, I think I was the third person signed by that publisher, and they went on to be Bookouture, which is one of the major players in digital publishing. And they were bought out by Hachette. If you know that publisher, I think it's
Oh, definitely.
third
Yeah.
largest in the world.
Mhm.
And I remained with them all the way through my career until I decided to open up my own publishing imprint.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know if any one person can replicate it, like everybody has their own path to how they find, themselves in this business. It's just
Exactly.
fine, but it's not like a blueprint or anything.
It's so funny because so many people are like, oh no. So like I go and I listen to people's stories because I want to have like, and they'll pick like a story they want. And I'm like, that's just not how it goes. It's it's a lot like the entertainment world. I mean, we are in the entertainment world.
Yeah.
We don't really see I don't think, how many authors do you think see themselves as in the entertainment world?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I mean, I see myself as in the entertainment world. I think that there's
Yeah,
a lot of crossover that doesn't always happen in that realm.
exactly. So like to me, it's like, well, every actor and actress normally has a story about how, and we are like, oh, of course it's a different story. And then when the author, you go to a writer like, no, I'm writing my path, and you're like, yeah, the path kind of picks you here. You
It does.
gotta just be like, that's the one I got. I'm
Yeah.
going.
Well, and the way I explain it, especially having seen it now from the publisher side, is like when we go into a bookstore, all the books in a major bookstore, someone thought they were fantastic, right? Or they wouldn't be there. But personally, we might look at 5 or 6 books before we buy one that fits us. That doesn't say that any of the other books are wrong. They're just not the one that we're looking at. And so I think finding your publisher is like that. You have to find that person that says, this one hits me in a way that I get it. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I don't think when people are saying, I'm going to go write this story because it's like this one and I'm going to get a publisher, I think it's more about just writing what you do best and then finding your path along the way, really.
Exactly. It really is about finding your own path and journey and trying to make it sometimes your own path and journey if we can't find it. Mentioning trying to make it, and I'm gonna do it something we never do here, y'all. It's called a segue. I said mentioning try to make it, and then I'm like, you made an imprint. Oh, it feels so good to be professional with the big old mask and no eyes. That's professional. So how did you start the imprint and why?
I'm kind of like those actresses that go on to be producers. The more I got into the job of writing, because remember, I wasn't one of those people that as a kid, I was like, this is what I want to do. It was just a creative outlet, but I also do all kinds of other creative things. I like to dabble in painting sometimes, and I love photography, and I write poetry, and there's a lot of other realms to my creativity. So the more I got into the actual process of being a contracted author for a publisher, the more I kept wanting to sit on the side of my publishing team. I wanted to be around their table. I wanted conversations about branding and about how to produce my books and about SEO and keyword research and all of the things that your publisher does, that most authors are like, fine, go do it. And so I just decided that once I got to where I was ready, I wrote myself an extra book. And that actually happened in 2020, because when COVID hit and everything shut down, I had enough time to write a third book. I write 2 a year, and I had enough time to write a third book that wasn't on contract. And I let my publisher know, hey, I want to try to play with this and see, how well I do with it, and they let me have the book. And obviously I was still writing. I wrote all their contract out as well, but I had this extra book, and I published it, and it ended up being like the #1 new release in clean and wholesome romance on Amazon.com. And so I thought, well, I think I know what I'm doing. I just need to dial it in. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized, like, that's what gets me up in the morning, is the publishing. And while I love to write and it's another outlet for me, the publishing is what gets me jazzed. And so that's how I got into it. And now I'm publishing other people. I'm still publishing my own books, and just seeing where it leads me.
And what exactly are you looking for your imprint? Because I know everyone out there wants to know.
Yeah, I mean, I love contemporary romance, but I love those like classic love stories, like in movies like Sleepless in Seattle, or You've Got Mail, or those sort of like contemporary love stories. But I also think that it's so important to have flawed characters that represent our world. You know what I mean? And so that's sort of what I'm really looking for, you know.
Really? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
because that's what I write.
yeah. That's what I'm looking for, is like, I want just real solid characters, and the romance happens around that. You know, I think you know, I know there's an escapist piece to it for sure, but I also think there's a very real, raw, salty piece to it too, that has
Yeah.
to sort of be in there for me to really say this is a good one, you know.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. That's not what I write.
Well, depending, you know. But
Yeah.
and you know, I have a pretty wide range right now of stories. And as we go too, I mean, I'm sure that submissions dictate it a little bit as well. You know what I mean? Because um I will say, just given the time, the incredible time, money, and effort that it takes to publish at that level, I have to absolutely love it. It has to be the book I'd pull off the shelf. And that doesn't say anything to anyone, you know, who writes something amazing. That it just, and I've actually told people that, like, I absolutely love this. I don't know if I'm the best one to market it for you. You know what I mean? I think that that's what it's all about, is finding that perfect fit too in your submission
Thank
box.
you. It has been amazing having you on the show today. I thoroughly have enjoyed it. Can you tell people where to find out more information about you, where to buy that book that you were just talking about, that's that is out right now?
Yes.
And
So the
I don't
Chris,
know, maybe no, you said submissions are high, so forget submitting.
I mean, they're welcome to. So with my author hat on, my book is The Christmas Letters. It's out online. You can go to Amazon and find it. That my website as an author is www.itsjennyhale.com. As a publisher, Harpeth Road Press publishes The Christmas Letters. They publish me, and I am Harpeth Road Press, and that's at harpethroad.com.
Thank you so much. You can find out everything that
ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the bottom of the page and see the charities we proudly support. We hope you can support them too. We thank you in advance for that. And just remember, y'all, wisdom is all around you. If you have a different voice, you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love from Jade
and Jade.
Bye. Oh yeah, thanks for listening. Yes, that can be right there.